So continuing on with everything you ever wanted to know about a Kubota tractor and more series. Tend to get a bit long-winded in these kinds of things. Sorry, I love this stuff. So we got our axle, power steering cylinder, both sides. So it's a double rod cylinder, double rod, double action. And it is in the front. Now it's got this hardcore guard on it. So, you know, if you run into trees or small mountains or stuff like that, you'll be protected. Some manufacturers actually put it in the rear. So you like it in the front, you like it in the rear, that's up to you, I suppose. Advantage to having it in the front is I can actually run, or Kubota does, because I'm not Kubota, they actually run their drive shaft here, right in line. Now that actually helps out with my ground clearance. So if I had a cylinder here in the back, a double rod cylinder, I'd have to run this guy lower, or I would have to run two cylinders, one on each side, which works good, it's fine. I mean, many machines use it that way. But this is a simpler way, and I mean, if you're a driver worth your salt, you shouldn't be hitting things, although life does tend to happen. You shouldn't be hitting stuff with your front cylinder. Now, keep in mind, this drive shaft, which goes from the transmission for your differential in the front, splits the oil pan in two. So you got two places to drain the oil. If you drain just one and then go the other, there's going to be a little bit of oil residual in there. So again, just keep that in mind when you're doing your servicing. So we've got our trunnion bearing here for the axle. This is actually something that nobody ever services. So I'm going to take the time to explain it to you guys. I'm going to do the front of the tractor entirely, and then I'll do another series on the rear, I think, because there's a lot to take in. If you're not new to this and you don't know anything about tractors, and then you get this beautiful shiny machine, there's a lot to know. So you got your trunnion, your bearing, and then you got this funky little bolt here in the front. Now what happens as you're driving and using this machine, this is gonna get some wear. Now they used to be that you could lubricate these guys, same as with the tie rod ends and same with the U-joints in your drive shaft. They all used to be lubricatable. Like you could have a little zerk there and go with your grease gun and have yourself a ball. And then again in the early 90s they went away with all that and went with lubed for life components. And the theory on that is that a lube-like component, it'll last for a long time if you use it normally. Now, a greasable component, if you never grease it, it'll last a very short amount of time. Like it needs to be lubricated, and the problem was having with, I suppose, other manufacturers with Kubota at the time, people weren't lubricating them. So you were getting premature failures and it was affecting customer satisfaction and all that kind of fun stuff. So getting back to the axle. These guys will wear out. I mean, what I mean is that they will wear, not wear out. And after a while, your axle will start to be able to move back and forth a little bit. And this bolt is actually designed to take up that slack. So you don't want, and I believe that the owner's manual has now this is how it used to be done 1,000 years ago. I'll take a look again. But they would have you raise the front of the tractor, and then you would use a fish scale and attach it here, and you would check the resistance lifting up. And if you didn't have enough resistance, you would just tighten this bolt. So the play in the axle here is controlled by this bolt. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want your axle flopping around, especially guys with loaders. Your axle is far more under solicitation, it's under more use than just someone who's cutting his grass. So this is something that's part of the maintenance to adjust every now and then, is to check that. I wouldn't go as far as maybe using a fish scale, although that's, I think, it's how they used to do it. Maybe Kubota has a new way. I'll find that out you know, shortly. But make sure your axle is not moving back and forth. I mean, that's just craziness, and it's going to cause extra wear. So the forward backward motion is adjustable, and if it's not in spec, it's going to actually cause extra wear laterally. So your axle is going to be going all sideways, and it's just correct it every now and then. It's an easy thing to do. Just go ahead and do that. Not a big problem. So I'm going to come up to the brakes just real quick, and then I'm going to do the rear of the tractor on another episode. So I got the brakes here, left, right. Interesting that they didn't paint this guy. Huh, maybe they did that for a reason. I don't know. So, and then I've got this ratchety system here, which is for the parking brake. So that's interesting. So you press on this guy, and you can see the whole dance there. It goes to the brakes, which are supposed to be multi-wet disc brakes. Fancy. And then you got the left guy, which actually crosses all the way over and goes into the other side. And I really like the way that they've done the linkages here. Well done. It's solid, top shape, you know, just needs a little bit of lube every now and then, I mean, I wouldn't say that that's great quality engineering, but it'll do the job. So will that guy. But the more important parts of being brakes that actually work and are solid, that's well done. There is a cross rod that goes all the way through here, and we got a Zerk here for this guy, so a little bit of a Zerk for the left-hand pedal. I don't think that there's a Zerk for the right-hand pedal, and keep in mind that the shaft that goes through here underneath the tractor, there's a moving part in there. When I press, it's got to go to the other side. So let's see how that's made, but that could be problematic if there's no way to lubricate that guy. While I'm here, and I'll do this a little bit more in depth, but this is your damper and your centering system for your hydrostatic transmission. So the hydrostatic transmission on this is all mechanical linkage, and you got some springs back there for that. Yeah, so nothing wrong with that. I mean, it used to work, and I'm pretty sure it'll keep on, you know, not be a problem in the future. All right, now that I'm lying down on the ground, these pipes here, transmission oil cooler, obviously, goes to the back. Super well made, no issues there whatsoever. My lines for my loader, really nice, nothing to complain about here. So you got this pipe that covers the joints and the splines and everything for your front drive shaft. So if you go in water, it might be a good idea to every now and then undo this guy and make sure there's no moisture in there. And then maybe lubricate, because there are splines and all sorts of fun stuff in there that if you use your tractor as a submarine, might get you into problems. This is a plug that goes into the bell housing, so you can actually see in there. I mean, it'd be a bit of a stretch, but you can actually see what the ring gear and all that kind of fun stuff is. And in some cases, now I'm going to do an underneath a bit later, but they used to have some sort of a drain place for the bell housing. So I can't see that right now, but anyway. All right, let's go back to this brake thing. That's what I was kind of interested in. So we got the brake rod here. Adjustment going to the back. Spring, beautiful stuff. And no grease point. Huh. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to slander the design, but I think what I'm going to do, because I am that kind of person, is take this guy out and see if there's actually a hole that allows grease to go to that center piece. Because if there's no grease going to that center piece, I mean, that outside grease nipple is cute for the left pedal. I appreciate that. But if there's no grease going to that center piece, and I can't feel a zerk anywhere, so there isn't one there. If this guy can't be lubricated, that is just a problem waiting to happen. So yeah, I'm gonna have a look at that. And then this guy here, this is for my pivot for the hydrostatic pedal. So forward, backwards, fun stuff. Again, I can't see any lubrication on that guy. So that is a problem. I don't know, people driving the tractors in California may never have a problem, but anybody who actually goes into anything that can make stuff rust, that is not a good situation. So we've got our hydraulic lines going to the back, nice and sexy. I can't say that I love the way that they routed this tube to be so damn low. The tube for the hydraulic here, all the way down there. I don't know. Could have been better, but it is what it is. And you know, like, most people don't take this out off-roading, and most people will have like a deck underneath here for mowing their lawn or stuff like that. So I mean, there may not really be an issue, but I don't like it.